Welcome to today's restorative class. My name is MJ. Today's class is a full-length class. If you don't have time to do the entire class, you can always press pause and continue whenever you're ready. Today we'll start lying on our back. I like to have all my props in easy arm's reach. If you have a bolster or maybe a couple of pillows instead of a bolster, one or two blankets, and maybe a couple of blocks as well. As you lie down, bring the feet to approximately hip-width distance, wherever it's comfortable for the hip flexors to relax and feel like they're melting down towards your bum. Bring the arms out away from the body. And if you need to move the feet around so you can relax the hips, please do so. Let the back of the head melt down. The stomach feel like it's falling down towards the spine, past the spine towards the mat. Start to tune into your breath, maybe placing the hands on the stomach so you can feel that the breath is moving all the way down to the stomach, the abdomen expanding as you inhale, and slowly it moves back down towards the spine as you exhale. You can place the hands on the ribs if you prefer, just noticing how the fingers part as you inhale, and then they maybe come back to touch as you exhale as the breath leaves the body. Just seeing if you can slow the breath down every time you breathe. Let the jaw relax. Let the tongue fall down into the back of the throat where the root of the tongue is. Notice if you're scratching up around the eyes or the brows. And any stress fall away, let it melt down. Think of it melting down past the body, past the mat, past the earth. Shoulder blades relax, arms down to the elbows get nice and heavy. Just notice anything that comes up for you, any thoughts, any emotions. You can stay here as long as you like. There's always the option to move the arms if it feels better. Bring them back down by your side or maybe even back behind you. Starting to gain a little more space from the side waist, the underarms, the chest. As you now walk the feet a little wider, out to the width of the mat. And let the inner knees come to rest together. And notice where the pelvis is. If you need to walk the feet further away or closer in, just to allow the legs to be comfortably touching together. Place the feet where they do feel best for this. For the duration that we're here in this pose, you're welcome to walk the feet wider as long as it feels comfortable. If not, you can always bring the feet back into the starting position. Please modify for what's best for your body. Noticing how much of the feet touches the ground. How much of the pelvis. Does the pelvis feel like it's tilted a little more to one side or the other? You can always look at the body if you need to see where it's at as well. If not, just allow the eyes to stay closed and everything to melt down a little heavier. Again, noticing the breath, letting it be slow and calm, and staying as long as you like. When you're ready, bring the feet back in to about hip width, taking your time. Take any movements that feel good for you. Maybe bringing the knees to the chest, rocking side to side. And keep the feet on the ground and do this, or maybe open the knees a little wider like a passive happy baby, holding the front of the shins. Just noticing how it feels on the low back, on the pelvis. Another option is to hold behind the back of the knees. But listening to your body for what movements will feel best for you. Maybe that's taking circles with the femur into the pelvis. Really taking your time. If you'd like to move into a full happy baby, you can always reach up and grab the feet, maybe grabbing the ankles instead. Thinking of pulling the knees gently down towards the underarms, but then lengthening the sitting bones away from the head, creating a nice long spine. And again, a little movement if that feels good. Still moving slow. Keeping the space that you've developed in the body. If it's comfortable to extend one leg and then the other, you can do so. Still breathing calm, breathing slowly. And when you're ready, bring the feet back to the ground if they were raised, lifting the hips up, pressing the feet down and moving to a supported bridge. If you have a block or a stack of books, or if you prefer to use a blanket or maybe a bolster or a pile of pillows, place it under the back of the pelvis, making sure that it's not touching the spine. If you'd like a little more support, you can use extra blocks. You can place them side by side or maybe stack them one on top of the other. For me, it feels more comfortable with the blocks placed side by side. And then let the feet rest comfortably down, making sure that you can relax the body, that there's no impingement in the low spine. If there is, remove the blocks and maybe use a blanket instead. And place the arms wherever it's comfortable. Maybe a little wider or back behind the body again, back behind the head. If you prefer to place the legs in a different position, maybe walking the feet wide, letting the inner knees come to touch. Again, if that's uncomfortable, you can change it. You can maybe bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees fall out wide, like a reclined full butterfly. You can always support the legs if you have any extra props, placing them under the outer shins. Just allowing the front of the body to open. I think another option is to extend the legs long, leaving the rest down towards the far end of the mat. If you need to do this one leg at a time, you can do so. Maybe extending both legs long if that feels better. Still breathing as deep, as calm as you can. Relaxing the jaw, letting the eyes fall heavily into the back of the skull. I do like to time my poses and I use my Apple Watch, so if you have a preference of timing the poses, you can use whatever you like. If you'd like to extend the length of the pose, you can do so. Stay as long as your body needs. When you're ready, lift the hips, remove the props, and then very slowly articulate the spine and then the pelvis down to the ground. And just take a couple of breaths, keeping the pelvis grounded, the soles of the feet flat. Slow, deep inhales. Full, calm, very grounded exhale. One more big, deep inhale breath. Big, deep exhale. If you need some movement, please take it. So now move into reclined full butterfly with the soles of the feet together, the knees wide. The feet can come in close to the groin. If you'd like to direct the stretch more to the inner thighs, you can use some props under the outer legs to support the body, using however high you need the props, maybe on the small, the medium, or the tall side. That can support the knee, the upper thigh, the shin, or both. Just placing them wherever you need to. And as the body slowly starts to open up, you can always move the props out a little further. If you'd like to direct the stretch more into the outer hip area, more into the glute, the piriformis, external rotators, bring the feet quite a far distance away from the groin, making a big diamond shape with the inner legs, and again supporting the legs if you need to. For me, I find it that my body opens up a lot faster when I use the props under my outer legs. Again, you can move them out bit by bit as your body starts to let go and give you some space. The arms can be either against the inner thighs, hands on the torso, maybe out wide, or again back behind the head. Thinking of everything melting down, the breath helping to create even more space. Notice any thoughts that come into the mind. Anything that's trying to get your attention and pull you into that moment. Just observe them, almost like you're standing there watching them moving past you, in and out of the head. Notice the sensations in the physical body that come up for you. If there's any emotions that are attached to those sensations, anything that really makes you think of, observe these things without judgment, just noticing them with curiosity. You can always scan throughout the body, allowing the mind and body to be a little more present in a calm, relaxed manner. Just noticing the areas that tense up, that get tight. And thinking of big, deep, calm exhales, sending the breath to that area, that space that feels tight or tense. Letting it relax just a little bit further with every exhale. And you may need to do this over and over again. But maybe next time you come into this pose, it'll be a little bit easier. And then the next time, a little bit more on top of that. But allow your body to relax heavily now. Feel it melt down. Staying as long as you like. Whenever you're ready, take your time. You can use your hands to help release the pose. If you need any movement, you can do so. Whatever again feels good for your body, just listen. Listen to what direction it's asking you to move in, maybe swaying the legs side to side. The feet can be on the ground or knees in the chest. Ready, let the knees drop over to the left hand side. The feet are wide, the legs are staggered. If you'd like to support the legs, you can place a block under the outside of the left thigh or the knee. Maybe a block under the inside of the right thigh. It's an option to bring the arms back behind your head. If you're a little more open, a little more flexible, you're welcome to place the left ankle on top of the right thigh. Again, supporting the legs however you need to. Relax the lower back, relax the glutes. If it's hard to relax the legs or the body with the left ankle on top, you can release it back down to the ground again. Please know that you don't have to stay in a specific position of the pose. If it doesn't feel right, if it starts to get uncomfortable, change it, support the body in a different way, or move the body so you feel comfortable and can relax again. everything get nice and heavy. Think of the front of the body melting down through the tissues, the organs, all the way through the back of the body to the mat beneath you. As our body is not completely symmetrical, you may need to stay on one side a little longer than the other. It might be minutes, 5 or 10 or more minutes longer, just to start to feel closer towards even. And you may never accomplish that complete evenness, complete balance, but just starting to feel a little more closer to balanced in the body. So truly listening to what you need, staying as long as you need. And again, in every pose, you can always turn the props down on a smaller side, move them out just a little bit further, so the body starts to create a little more space. Again, stay as long as you like. When you're ready, guide the legs back to the center. If the pelvis moved, you can move it back in line with the shoulders. If you need any movement in between, let it be gentle and calm before moving to the opposite side. The feet are wide, the knees drop over to the right hand side, a staggered wide leg twist. Again, support the body however you need, something under the outer right thigh, the inner left thigh, maybe the right ankle comes on top of the left thigh. The arms can rest beside you against the torso or back behind you. And just notice with curiosity, just childlike curiosity, how the left and the right side feel. Are there differences? Are there similarities? If there are either of those, what are they? Where do you feel them? Are they changing? Can you utilize your breath, one of the most important tools we have, to help the body relax just a little bit further, to gain just a little bit more space? Whenever you have your arms back behind the head, if you place one palm on top of the other, one elbow on top of the opposite, make sure you do both. So swap it over, so both arms get the same approximate amount of time. We don't create any more dominances, any more habits that take us out of that balance, or closer to balance, that middle ground. Allow the breath to slow. Allow it start to calm down. Notice where the mind goes to. Thoughts that keep coming up. They may be sporadic, they may be running all over the place. Just notice them. Be aware, almost like you're just letting them enter the mind and then leave it just as easy as they came in. Without gripping or holding on. Without playing into that thought. Or letting it dominate you. Letting it create emotions and feelings. Really just noticing. Be a watcher. Watcher of your thoughts. Let them come and go. Again, noticing side to side, letting the low back relax, the stomach, thighs, the glutes. Please know you can stay as long as you need. When you're ready, guide the legs back to the center if you need the hands again to do so. Find the hips in line with the shoulders. If you need any movement, take it nice and slowly. Breathing nice and calm, nice and slow. When you're ready, roll off to the most comfortable side and press yourself up. Coming up to a seated position. Taking your time. If you need to pad the hips, you can sit up on a blanket or two. So you bend the left knee, place the sole of the left foot at the top of the right thigh. Now bend the right knee so the foot comes back next to the outer right hip. You can always pad the left knee as well if you need that support, or maybe underneath the sole of the right foot. And the right foot can either be turned out to the side or point back behind you. As you now turn the torso to the left-hand side, you can come up onto the fingertips or onto the palms. The right glute is lifted up off the ground. You can either stay here or come down to the forearms into a twisted deer pose. If you need some extra support, you can always use the props under the outer left hip, maybe a bolster, blankets, and if it is comfortable for the body, you can come all the way down onto the chest towards the ground, placing an ear on the mat, letting the forearms rest. Anytime the body needs that extra support, you can always come up a little higher. Prop the body up with whatever does feel best. And then again, move back to relaxation, to letting the body open a little bit further. If you are using the props against the left hip, make sure they're all the way up against the hip to support you. in this pose with the left ear to the mat to start. For the duration that we're here in the pose, you're welcome to start to turn the right ear to the mat, so it's a full twist for the entire spine. You can always use the left leg to push the right leg a little further back. It will deepen the twist. If that becomes uncomfortable, you can bring the legs a little further back forwards to the original position they were in. Let the stomach get heavy. Even though the body is compromised in a twisted position for the torso, still let the breath move as deep and as slow as it possibly can, letting the ribs part, especially behind the body through the back ribs and out to the side. Let your arms rest wherever they feel best. You can always remove some of the props as the body starts to get a little bit deeper into the pose. Again, you can always place them back, bring them a little bit higher if you need to. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue. If this pose feels amazing, if you feel that you need this pose, that you're really benefiting from it, you can stay here for even longer, as long as you need. Whenever you're ready, take your time. Use your palms to slowly press the torso back upright. And take your time if you need any movement. You can roll your neck or maybe lift your chin, move the shoulders. Taking your time, pressing the palms down, lift the torso back up, turning the torso forwards again. Move the props out of the way and keep the left foot over to the right side of the mat and bring your right leg up and over towards the left, trying to stack the knees on top of one another but still have the hips grounded, the sitting bones grounded. So if you need to sit up on a blanket, please do so. So propping the hips up, you can always put the blanket folded in half or maybe sit on more than one blanket. So really giving the pelvis some space to bring the legs across. So really deep outer hip opener. Be using two of the blocks. You may not need to use them, just place them in front of the body. Then we have another option, and you can extend the bottom leg forwards. So the left leg will extend forwards with the right leg up and over. If not, have both of the heels towards the outer hips. And another way to get into the pose is to come up onto the palms and then sit the hips back down in between the heels. You can either stay here if this is quite intense, or you can come onto the palms, forwards onto the forearms, or use the blocks under the forearms or the hands. Think of the chest moving out forwards past the knees. If it's comfortable, you can always support the forehead by using the blocks, maybe placing a couple on top of one another, or just one under the forehead. You can stack it up on top of the knees to the forehead as well, if that's where the body moves to. You're finding a position that is comfortable. where you can relax. You can think of the body starting to open a little further into the hip area. The same as each of the other poses, if the body does begin to open, you can turn the props down to a shorter side or a smaller side. Here I'm just showing how to use the block on top of the legs. With the shoulder blades spread apart. Keep the hips grounded, the sitting bones grounded, as the upper body relaxes forwards over the thighs. Big, deep outer hip opener. Notice how it feels for you. Jaw melt forwards. Let the arms get really heavy. Again, anytime you need to bring yourself a little further out of the pose, use whatever props you have to support the body. Noticing where tension's creeping back in. Tell yourself that it's okay to let go, that it's okay to relax just a little further. And using your palms to release the pose, pressing your torso all the way up. Think of rolling the spine up, the head and the chin coming up last. Move any props out of the way. Unravel your legs, taking your time. As we now move into a twisted deer to the opposite side, we twist to the right, bending the right knee, place the sole of the foot at the top of the left thigh, and then the left leg comes behind you. And again, the left toes can either turn back or out to the side, whatever's best for your ankle, for your foot. If you need the props, move them over to the right side and place them all the way up to the right hip. The left hip will be slightly lifted off the ground. As you bring your hands over to the right, twist the upper body to the right. Walk the hands away from you and think of the torso extending out long and over the props. This time bringing the right ear to the mat. The arms can rest, allowing the body to relax comfortably down. And again, you can use the right foot to push the left leg a little further back, creating a slightly deeper twist, only if that's comfortable for you. If not, bring the legs back. For the duration that we're here in the pose, either keeping your right ear onto the props, make sure that the neck's supported. You are welcome to slowly turn the head towards the other side so the left ear will come onto the props. If this is too much for the neck, you can turn the head back to the other way. The shoulders be heavy. The arms relax, maybe forwards or back beside you, or you can bring the left arm to rest back towards the thighs. And just notice, again, we're taking a pose, first one side, then the other. How does this side feel compared to the other? Where do you feel it? Is it in the pelvis? Do you feel more sensation in the rib cage or the torso? Maybe the low back? maybe the glutes. Be aware of what you feel right now. Anytime it becomes too much on the neck, you can turn your head back to the other way. Notice if you're holding tension in the shoulders. Feel the shoulders get nice and heavy. So you can place the arms so you can relax that area just a tiny little bit more. With every breath, getting a little heavier, relaxing just a little further. Notice all the thoughts that are coming and going from the mind. Notice how you are attaching to them, and think of doing the opposite. Think of letting them go. Just noticing, just observing. Letting the body fall a little bit deeper into comfort. Continue to breathe nice and slow. See if you can deepen it just a little bit right now. Again, stay as long as you need. When you're ready, use the palms to lift the torso up, taking your time. Again, if you need any movement here, please take it. And when you're ready, turning the torso forwards again, moving the props out of the way. Bring the left leg up and over, moving into a cow face pose for the opposite side. And if you need to prop the hips up, you can sit up on something. You can extend the right leg forwards, again coming onto the knees and the palms, and then sitting the hips back if that's better for you to get into the pose. Find enough space so you can relax. Using whatever props that you need, maybe blocks in front of you. With the palms on the blocks, maybe the forearms on them. Stacking the blocks up for the forehead to rest. And blocks will be on the ground for the forehead or maybe up on the leg. Letting the torso rest down, the arms rest down, the shoulder blades spread apart. Your jaw feel like it's unhinging. The tongue drop forwards. Let go of any gripping or grasping or holding on. Again, with curiosity, we just notice side to side. How is this side feeling in comparison to the other side? Without judgment, without labeling, without pigeonholing, just observing. Letting your body be in a position that's comfortable for you, where you can relax, making sure you feel supported, making sure that you use the props in whatever way that feels best. Maybe the arms can come back behind, you can rest in front of the shins, maybe further out. Let your body find ease. Let the breath help that. Slow, deep, calm inhale breaths, thinking of the back ribs opening up. Slow, deep exhales, letting the body fall just a little further into relaxation. Again, we listen to our body. Listen to what it's saying. Is it telling us that we need to stay longer? With these sides tighter, it's not really letting go as fast. It's trying to hold on. So listen to what you need. Be aware of what's happening right now in your physical structure. Again, staying as long as you like. When you're ready, use your palms to slowly roll the spine up, with the head and chin coming up last. Again, taking your time. Allowing any movements into the body that feel comfortable. Rolling the head. Always unravel the legs first if that feels better. Move any props out of the way. We'll be using our blanket, rolling it up, and then placing it horizontal, so across the mat, just where the bra strap or the bottom of the shoulder blades would go. You can move all the other props out of the way and lie the torso back over the blanket. You can move the blanket up a little higher or down a little lower. You can roll it a little tighter or a little looser, whatever feels better, but move it to where it feels best for the body. Make sure that your bum is on the ground, so both of your butt cheeks are grounded. Bring the arms out wide. You can have the soles of the feet flat to the ground if that feels better for you. You can place the legs in a different position if that feels more supportive, more comfortable. Allow the blanket to be in a position where the body can relax down. Have the sitting bones grounded and let the legs be placed wherever it feels best, whether that's extending the legs long and flat. Have the soles of the feet flat to the ground, feet wider, and the arms can rest out wide, allowing the chest to open just a little bit further. The back of the head relax down. And think of creating space from the top of the thighs all the way down to the top of the shoulders, opening up. Again, letting the breath slow, letting it deepen. Allowing the space on the front of the body to open up further and further with every exhale breath, molding the back of the body over the blanket. If at any time it becomes too much with the legs extended, you can always bring the feet back in, bending the knees. Letting the breath slow, letting the legs get heavy, the arms down to the fingers, melt just a little bit further. Staying here as long as the body needs, as long as it feels comfortable. It feels that you're benefiting from this. When you're ready, taking your time, begin to bring the legs back in, soles of the feet flat to the ground. And very, very slowly, bringing the arms in, roll off to the left or the right, pushing yourself back upright, removing the props out of the way. And coming to a seated position. Move any props that you have out of the way. You can place them next to the mat in easy arm's reach. You may or may not need them coming up for the next pose, but just having them where they're easy to grab. Bring yourself onto hands and knees. Bring the knees beneath the hips. Bring the hands beneath the shoulders. You're always welcome to bring the knees a little bit wider if that's more comfortable. As you now bring the left arm up towards the sky. And take a bit of movement, some circles with the arm, before threading the arm over to the right. The left palm can either be face up or down, and the hips can be up on top of the knees or back on top of the heels, more like a twisted child's pose. Rest the left ear and left shoulder down. You're welcome to put props under the ear or the shoulder if you need to prop it up. The right arm can either rest near the face. If it's more comfortable, you can bring the right arm and rest it back beside the right shin. Letting the front of the torso get nice and heavy, the hips get heavy, unless you have the legs in a tabletop position. You're as welcome to put props under the back of the hamstrings or under the hips as well. Another option for the right arm is to bring it back, draping it over the lower back. Again, as long as it's comfortable, as long as you can relax. If not, find a position for the right arm. You can let the body get nice and heavy in. And notice the breath. Let it start to slow, even though the upper body is again in a twisted, compromised position. Take as deep a breath as you can. You can stay on this side as long as the body needs. Maybe the left shoulder is a little tighter than the right. If that's the case, you can pause this recording and stay here for extra time. But only when you're ready. Using the right palm as support. Bring the right hand back, slowly press yourself back upright. You can either come to a tabletop or keep the hips on the heels. Now threading the right arm over to the left. Either the palms face up or down, again whatever feels better for this side of the body. Either the right ear to the mat or on a prop, maybe supporting the shoulder as well, either left arm forwards, back beside the shin or draped over the lower back. If you need to bring the hips up on top of the knees again to a more of a tabletop position, you can do that or sit back on some props as well. If it feels more comfortable for the neck, for the forehead to be straight down, you can place something under the forehead or just rest the forehead on the mat. And again, deepen the breath. Let it slow just a little further. Notice your jaw. Let it relax. Let the eyes be nice and heavy. Let the rib cage expand as you breathe in. Let it slowly move back in as you exhale. Again, listening to this side of the body. Noticing side to side the shoulders if they may need a little bit of extra time. You can always stay on this side for an extra 30 seconds or maybe a couple of minutes or even longer if you need to. And when you are ready, using the left palm, bring the left palm back closer towards the shoulder. Very slowly press the palm down to lift the torso back upright. And take any movement in between that might feel comfortable. As we now grab our props, using the blocks, place one block down the center of the mat. We'll go in between the shoulder blades. The block will be flat, running vertical, and one block horizontal will be on the medium side, or even on the tall side. It will go under the back of the head. Make sure the sitting bones are on the ground as you lie back over the blocks. The block under the spine should be just in between the shoulder blades, and again the block under the head is supporting the back of the skull. And the legs can be whatever feels comfortable. Feet flat, knees bent, legs extended long and flat. If you need a little more height, you can place the block up higher or lower it down a little further. Just whatever feels better for the chest, the shoulders, the neck and the skull. Make sure that the blocks are stable, that you feel supported. The arms reach out wide as the body starts to relax just a little further. Nice heart expansion. Again, if this is unsuitable for the spine, please do not do it or use a blanket instead rolled up down the length of the spine. Something a little softer, a little more comfortable, or you can have the spine flat to the ground in a neutral position. And the rib cage expanding as you inhale, and slowly contracting as you exhale without too much force. Just letting the body comfortably and more naturally move. As long as it's okay for the shoulders, let the palms be face up as the arms are wide. You always have an option to remove the block that's under the head. If at any time this is too much, you can just place it back under the head again. To place the arms or the palms in a different position. Bring them closer down by the side or palms face down if that's suitable for the shoulders. You have an option to bring the arms back behind you, maybe placing one palm on top of the other, or resting the arms on the block if you need that support. Making sure to swap the hands over half time. You can count the number of breaths and then take the same amount of breaths with the opposite palm on top. Allowing the front of the body, the front of the spine, the chest, everything to open with every inhale breath. And even more so with every exhale breath. Let your glutes get nice and heavy. Let that softness travel all the way down to the heels as the feet may fall out or in, whatever again is suitable for the body. Continue to breathe slowly, even calmly, finding more space, more relaxation with every single breath. Again, you always have the option to stay. Listening to your body, how it feels. This is, again, something that's beneficial for you. Always remembering to move nice and slowly through the transitions. When you're ready, begin to bring the arms down by your side. Take your time. Walk the feet back. And very slowly roll off to the side. Remove any of the props that are under the body. Roll back onto the back of the body, letting the spine return to a neutral position. Now we set up for our resting pose of Shavasana. For me, I like to put blocks under the back of my knees or the back of my thighs. The legs out about to the width of the mat. You can always turn the blocks up higher or down lower. Place a blanket over the abdomen and the upper thighs. Today I'm going to place the pillows on top of the blanket as well, a little bit of extra weight. If you have a bolster, you can do that, or maybe some extra blankets. The arms and legs are nice and wide, palms face up. Let the upper neck lift off the ground, slightly lifting the chin. Letting everything relax completely. Any breath control goes. The breath now shallows up into the chest. Let your body get even heavier as it relaxes further down. Allow yourself to simply just be now. You're welcome to stay here as long as you like. When you're ready, start by taking a deeper breath. And allow little movements back into the body, starting small. Let them begin to grow. Maybe the arms and legs move. Maybe moving into a stretch. Before removing any props that are on top of the body, taking your time. Bringing the legs in. And then rolling off to the most comfortable side. Maybe spending a few breaths on the side of the body before pressing yourself up to a comfortable seated position. You're welcome to sit up on your props to find more comfort. You can sit cross-legged, you can sit on the heels. Just thanking ourselves for taking the time out of our day to slow down, to create some space. Once seated, I invite you to bring the hands to heart. Gently bow the head. Bring our thumbs to the third eye, connecting to the intuition, finding mindfulness. We bow in thanks. Namaste. Thank you for taking the time for yourself, for the mind, for the body. Creating some space, finding calmness. Take your time in the transition. Drink some water. Share this with your friends or family or anyone who may benefit from it if you feel that you got something out of it. Take your time and thank you. Remember to subscribe for new classes weekly. Have an amazing day.